Hello there guys. In this project we build a web app that predicts whether a person has diabetes or not. So to show you just how this website works, we begin by inputting some values into this input. So let's say a person has a glucose measure of 45 and a blood pressure of 700. You can see here our app predicts that the person is positive, he has diabetes. You can try other measures and see the predictions. So if you scroll down here, you can see an InShot of the data that we use to create our model that's used behind this web app. Then you can see some summary of our data set, some histogram, and a scatter plot. So I'll be showing you how to build this website just using Shiny. There's no HTML, no CSS, just Shiny package in your RStudio. I can enlarge the screen. You can see this website can work in every screen type, whether you have a phone or you have a large screen, like a desktop screen. So let's just minimize it. So I'll be showing the code in a few minutes. So guys, here's the code for the application. To begin with, I shall import my dataset, and please begin this course if you are already familiar with R and RStudio. You should know how to start a project in your RStudio environment. Shiny app, how to start a Shiny app in your RStudio environment. So to begin this project, I shall import my dataset. So this is my dataset. This is my location of my dataset. Then I shall subset the dataset here. So these are some data pre-processing commands here from here up to here. So let's get into our Shiny part. So you need to have these libraries installed. So for my case, I already have the libraries installed in my environment, so I shall just load them. So library Shiny themes. Then we begin the user interface. The user interface is the part that the user interacts with our app. It's like the HTML page, the front page of our application. So in Shiny, you always use the function fluid page to indicate the front page. And the theme we shall put it here, our theme. Then Shiny theme, I shall use select Shiny theme in this application. Then sidebar layout. What I mean by sidebar layout is that you have an app that has a sidebar layout like this app. So here, this is the sidebar layout. This is the sidebar layout app. So this is the sidebar, this is the menu panel. So let's go back to the code and continue checking. So this right here, the sidebar layout. Then inside it we have the sidebar panel. I've shown you the sidebar panel. Then the title panel. In the title panel, you shall key in the title of your app or the title of your sidebar. Let me show you the title where it is. Key in your measure. This is the title. Let's just show you. Key in your measure here. This is the title of our sidebar panel. You see here I've written key in your measures here. So here guys, I've not used any HTML, but you can decide to use HTML. I shall make another tutorial how to use HTML in your Shiny app. So you can just write like this and the title appears. Then you have the numeric input. This is where the inputs are taken, the inputs of the glucose levels that I had indicated. So we have the ID as glucose, then the glucose measure, this is the label, this is the constant value that will be present there. So if you check it, you can see these are the glucose measures, the blood pressure measure, and then your status. So let's continue. And guys, if you're following along, make sure you put your brackets correctly, because if you put one bracket wrongly, the app won't run. So we have here verbatim text output. So this one is under the sidebar panel. This is the verbatim output outputs the code that you have run in your R script. So for my case, let me show you where the verbatim output is in the sidebar panel. So if you look here, so this output here, this positive output is the verbatim output. So then we have the main panel. I've shown you the main panel. In my case, the main panel has a title panel. the title I've shown you. Then we have the fluid draw. The fluid draw is where I divide the main panel into rows. So I've divided my case into 2 rows. We have this row, this is the first row, and then you have the second row. Let me just show you where the rows are found. So guys, this I told you this is the main panel and this is the sidebar panel. So the first row is here and the second row is here. And within these rows, I've made it into columns. Under the rows, I've created some columns. Under this, the first row, I've created 2 columns. This is the first column, this is the second column. And guys, this method of using columns is very important. That's how you can even create a dashboard in RShinny. So guys, let me just show you my column code. So here I've input the column, and this, make sure in your column code you have written a variable here. You rate 4. So this column takes variables from 1 to 12. If you don't write this variable here, the column won't run. So it just tells us the size of the column that you want. For the first column that I told you, the table output. So this first column, this the first column. The second column, this one is under one row. This one is in another row. So let us just continue. I've already explained. So under this second column, we had a plot output. This is the ID. This is the ID, and this is the size of the column. So let's just go to the next. So guys, from here to the previous code that I've been telling you about, that one is like the HTML code where the output comes from. So let's go to the next section, the server section. The server section takes in a function. This function takes in an input and an output. To begin, the output, we have the output $sign table. So this output $sign table, we call the table that we had indicated earlier. So here we had an ID. Here we had an ID table. So this table is what we're going to call it in the function. So we want to create some function that will enable the output to occur. So I told you the service like the backend. So here for the table, we have this function render table. Then don't forget to put this curly brackets, and then write the function that you want. So you want to output the head of our data frame. So the data frame, you remember we had imported earlier our data set. So I'm just using those codes. So you don't wonder where this df came from. Let me show you where it came from. This df came from here. So after I imported my data set, I have subsetted it and did some normalization to it. Then that's how I came up with this df, a subset of this original data set. So guys, you can import your data set. My data set, I found it in Cargo. So that is it. So here is the other output section where we output the histogram. You see here we have written render plot. Here we have output the histogram. Then another render plot. So we plot the glucose. This is where we'll put the scatter plot. Let's just move the code there. Then here is where the whole thing now comes in, where I perform the logistic regression in order to predict if a person has diabetes or not. So I just created the model variable. Then you know how to create a machine learning function. This is the machine learning function for dependent variable. Then you have some independent variables. So I just call these key values. These are the inputs that we take. These values, these are the inputs that we take. So when I say that these inputs, so we take these inputs. After taking those inputs, they will come here for execution. So you can just check this code. Here's the predict function that predicts the outcome. And here we have an if else statement. So guys, if you are familiar with machine learning, you should know that a logistic regression output after prediction, it produces value in decimal places. So if it's always greater than 0.5, you know that one is a positive case, or it represents 1, and if it's less than 0.5, it represents 0. So that's what I did here. Then I use another if else statement. Then I said if final predict is comma is if it's equals to 1, then it should post positive, and or else it should post negative. So let's move to the. So that is it, guys. We complete our code with RShinny app UI server. So guys, that's our intermediate project on Shiny application,